Hello and welcome. I'm Bill Wake. We're here working on a tune similarity program, and we're to the point of having a Parsons code, which is a sort of shape of the melody, and we've got a graph, a 2D graph for that, and we need to make it into a report that supports a bunch of songs together because we want to see how similar these tunes are and assess kind of how they might have formed one from the other and things like that. Okay. All right, so we left off yesterday. Let's see. So with a bunch of tests like this, we feed in a series of notes and we get the shape of the melody that comes out of it. And this is in a grid object that's basically a 2D, or well, it's not really an array of characters. That might actually be a better representation, but it's a 2D list of it's a list of strings that get arranged as a bunch of characters. I guess we can say it that way. But I can see this one starts on some note, stays the same, goes up, repeats, goes up, repeats, goes down, repeats, goes down, repeats, goes down, repeats, goes down. Okay, so the shape of that tune is different from the one down here. You know, this one goes up a little and then hangs out on the same note. And this one goes up and down and up. And so we know those are different tunes. All right, so we gave ourselves some things to do. Probably, well, right now, ParsonsGraph calls on the grid. So the ParsonsGraph actually knows how to convert a Parsons code, which looks like star, U, 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 R for repeat, D for down, D, D, D. Okay, we convert that into one of these graphs. But we test for equality, and right now we're using grid as string. So that's not really the proper way we should be doing that. We should make grid know how do you decide things are the same yourself. All right, so let's start there. Once we finish that, we used to do our graph as just one-dimensional, so all on the same line, and we want to remove the remnants of that. Okay, let's see. Let's find grid. Yeah, it's not really domain. Oh, that's tests. I guess shared is where grid will be. It's in a weird place, I guess you'd say. All right, so there's grid, and let's find Parsons code. Parsons graph. Okay, so right now it contains contents, the 1D setup, and grid and X and Y. X and Y are where it's drawing the next letter and character in the grid. Okay, the PZN stuff we don't want, but this equality test, LHS as grid, we would rather say, well, I guess we would, if we want to say the graph is the same, I guess if the characters of the grid are the same, it's probably good enough. Let's say LHS.grid. I'd like to do this. Okay, but I think somebody's going to fail from that. We really need to move. Yeah, we don't have the operator for that. So let's put that in grid. If grid's equatable, and in a second here it'll tell us what it wants us to do, and we're gonna start with what we had. So in effect, I'm moving over that asString call. So let's return LHS.asString equals RHS.asString. Okay, that should build and it should work. Okay, I don't know why it's still complaining. Yeah, there it goes. Okay. um, okay. Let's see. Grid equatable. Now, asString is actually useful. We we want to be able to put this in a report, say, or something like that. So there's no it's legit to want to see it as a string. But in the graph, let's see what's going there. I don't think anybody's calling this anymore. Yeah, so this one can go away. All right, and then let's go back to to-do. All right, make ParsonsGraph use that. Okay. Okay, and then ParsonsGraph remove asString and PZN stuff. Okay, contents and so on. Well, let's do this one first. asGrid goes to asGrid string. Okay. Maybe asString would be better, wouldn't it? Okay, so convert your graph to a string by doing that. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Okay. Tests. Shouldn't see any problems. And we'll take out the grid. Okay. asString and PZ and stuff. Okay. Oops. Yeah, so the contents, we write to it, but nobody ever looks at it. Okay, so we can remove contents. I'll let the compiler tell me where, even though we can probably see it. It's a small enough class. Okay, I'll just make sure we're still good. Okay, and then this is not being used now. All right. We had a kind of intermediate, we started off with the Parsons code by itself, star, D, R, U, etc. And then we put in P, Z, or N for positive, 0, or negative to tell which way the graph was going to move, and then use that for our graphing. Okay. Yeah, I mean this class, let's extract it. Parsons graph. Okay. All right, keeps track of those. The key of it is this drawing. It uses the distance, then moves the distance up, then draws the character, and then moves across. But probably I don't know. I could start at -1, but I don't think it would necessarily help anything. It's small enough. I'll let it go. Okay. And let's check that. All right, contents in PZN are no longer needed. Oops. Okay, now our big goal is we're trying to do a report for the whole file. And I pulled in an example of the no scaling. Let's see. Okay, so this is the song "Deck the Halls." If you're familiar with the Christmas song, otherwise you may know it as "No Scaling" or something I can't even pronounce, and so on. Lots of possible names. Okay, so it's got a lot of names and a lot of notes. We'd like to find out how similar these are. So what I'm envisioning for the report is we got song 1, no scaling, and some sort of code that tells us the shape of the melody, the Parsons code. And then I want to have the same entry for the second song and the third song and so on. And I'd like all those sorted by the Parsons code. So the star UDR stuff. I think another phase of this is going to be do a correlate, well, define a measure and cluster by it. Well, define a measure, a similarity measure. And then figure out correlation of all songs to all songs. And maybe figure out a clustering. Okay. So this is not the end. This is more like the minimal minimal product kind of thing. And the Parsons code itself, it would let us do this stuff manually, but we'd like to have the computer take a go at it. Okay, but we have a ways to go before we get there. I want to do the whole file. So first I want to do one tune, and to do the tune, I've got this part done on the left. I need to put the stuff on the right in, and I'm envisioning that as another grid. And maybe I'm foolish. I don't know. But my thought was I'd like to have the title number, well, the title and song number on the same line as the star. So that's the 0 axis. Well, I guess it's sort of the y-axis, I guess. Y-axis 0. So I want to put this in a box, and then I wanted to find something that will horizontally stack these boxes with a gutter between them. Okay, so I think our report, let's take a look at that here. Okay, that handles the graphing. Well, maybe that's not the right place. Parsons code. Well, this part is fine. All this looks a lot like graphing to me. Okay. Let's pause that idea a minute. I don't know. I don't want to get too buried on things, but pull work from Parsons code report to Parsons graph. Okay. All right. So I want the graph to do all the work and the report to coordinate it. Okay. So this stuff can clearly just move. Okay. Now the report. So it's got a tune. it encodes it and then gets the code. That all seems fine. This part seems like the job of ParsonsGraph. Okay, so let's say graph, and what's he given? I think he's just given a code. So if that's true, I should be able to extract this. Okay. Oh, it did work. Good. Okay. This is graph code. I can get the name better once I move it in, but all right. Graph code produces the Parsons graph. Okay, so I think I've done too much. Let's put this back. Let's do this. Okay, let's pull this out. Graph code. Okay. He's got a string, a result Parsons graph. Well, that would be better in the other order. Let's that's gonna go away. Okay. Yeah, so this thing, we want to make it a method over here. So let's move this function over here. Okay, we don't want file private. Okay, func graph code result is a Parsons graph. Okay, so let's call result.graph code. Is that the best way to do this? We'll get there. Okay. Let's make sure this is working. Okay, good. Start moving parts of Parsons Code Report to Parsons Graph. Okay, and so my contention is this is no longer being used. Actually, all this stuff. Okay.
No, let's not play with that. We gotta go upstairs.
Call the method on Parsons graph. Okay, and let's see. So I don't want to do result. I want to do self. So let's take this out. Compiler will tell us everywhere result is not defined. Okay, that's just self.draw or draw. Okay, and the caller no longer needs to pass the result in. Okay, now this, what would we call? I almost think this is more the private function. Let's see if that's called anywhere. Could be a spare test out there. Okay. Make draw private. Okay, and then this is I mean, graph code, we got the word code in there, so let's just call it graph. Okay, so we're saying new ParsonsGraph.graph. Okay, I guess that's acceptable down here. Let's just return this dot graph of code. Parsons graph. Turn type expression type that. Well, now, okay. Graph, what does it return? Well, it doesn't really return anything. Given that, I guess this is okay. Now, why I want the graph here? I don't really want the graph. I want a report. Let's find the caller of this. This and a test. Okay. I mean, it's plausible enough. All right. I guess that'll do it to get that there. All right. I think the report is this stuff seems like it can be done by the caller, perhaps. If you just give me a Parsons code, then I can return you a graph. Yeah, we're gonna have to see what's needed, and I'm gonna remind myself what's in Tune. Hopefully, the title and the reference number. Yeah. Okay, and then the key and the notes. Okay. Okay. I want to get towards the report. So let's focus on the report for a tune as sort of the top level of this. Okay. So this stuff This looks to me a lot more like a Parsons graph test than it does a Parsons code report test. Parsons graph input is the code string. Okay, that would actually be reasonable for this. We can duplicate it. Oh, did I not check in? Not sure that message really expresses it. Okay, what I would like to do then, let's duplicate this. I don't know, can I copy and paste? No. Okay, let's make a new file. Parsons graph tests. And we'll take this. Report XC test. Okay, thank you. ParsonsGraph tests. Okay. Yeah, this is... Okay, so let's look at check graph. I think we can... let's change the interface to ParsonsGraph. I think it takes the string, the code string, that seems like the right thing for it to do, and produce a grid. Is that what it produces? Well, it has a grid. Okay, we'll come back to the grid, but I think that's good for that. So here, all right, let's make this work in pieces. Oh, we already get the graph code. Okay, yeah, then that. I think I want to take out all this stuff. I don't need the tune. I don't need report.graph. Okay, let's let graph equal ParsonsGraph. Graph.graph code. And then assert equal graph expected. Okay, I think that's good. And then this is going to be a code. Okay, this will break until I change these codes. But okay, yeah, that breaks all right. All right, let's change this. The code for CCC is really this. Okay, it's pretty easy to draw. The code for this one is star down. Okay. The code for this one is star repeat up, repeat up, repeat down, down, repeat down, repeat down, repeat down. Okay. And this one, star dash dash up. That looks like 2 characters. Sorry, star repeat, repeat up, repeat, repeat down, repeat, repeat, repeat. Okay. This one is star, goes up, down, down, up, up. FE is starty. This one is star R. You can see I want to have the comments anyway. This one is star DR. Oops. I'm liking this split a lot. Star R R up. There are more cases than I remembered. Okay, I think we've got a much better balance between these things now. The code is the graph really is a consequence of the code and not much else. So we don't need. Oh no, I've carefully hand edited the wrong file. Oh my goodness. Okay. Sorry, that should be star RR. Okay, we'll put these over in the graph one. Star. I'll pull these in here. Back over here. Okay, so these are like they were. Let's make sure this is in the right place. Yep. Okay, so Parsons graph test, all that should work. Oh, what have I done? Okay, so change tests for Parsons graph. Or let's make separate explicit tests for Parsons graph. Okay, so let me consider these. All right. Okay, so I think those are the right tests. That looks like what I'd expect for this thing. Now these, they're a bit much, aren't they? I mean, they're checking the same thing, but we don't need all these tests. I mean, the report, we want to make sure it has a graph in it, but that's about it. We don't need every variation of these things. So I think we'll take Twinkle Twinkle because that's just a simple song. Maybe we'll keep the one-liner as well. Okay. But all these variations, they're critical for testing the graph, but they're not really super relevant to the rest of this. Okay. I like Twinkle Twinkle because it's a real song, so it's a little bit of a realistic kind of full-blown test. Okay, this should still work. Okay, remove redundant tests. Okay. I didn't expect to do that, but I think it's a good move. And I don't think we'll need to look at that anymore. Okay, so now the report. I mean, that is the graph for the thing with the thing. Who calls this? Should be one test function. Okay, defined and then used in the test function. Okay, I think we can work with that. Okay, so I think what I want to say there's a report, and if I give you a tune, you should give me back a report. Actually, I want to give you a list of tunes. but if I get one, I guess I'll take that for starters. Okay, so let's make this. All right, we have this song. What I really want to say is check report for CCC, and I want that to be, well, no, it's got to be for a tune. And I want to be, well, I want it to be this. Two. I'm not sure the right spacing here, but let's say 4 spaces, 1, no scaling. Okay, I think I'll call it just C. Okay, I'm going to give you the tune. I'm going to give you the title. I guess maybe the other order would be better. Okay, and I'm going to give you the expected result. Okay. And I think from a readability end, do it like this. Okay, I don't need to check graph anymore. Okay, tune is just C, contents are CCC, and I want to see that. Actually, what I should see, I really should see the first 8 notes of a tune. If it doesn't have 8, I want 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 4 spaces like that. I think that's what I'd like. So maybe we'll just 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's not make that an issue for now. Uh, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 4 spaces. Okay, that is about right. Okay, so check report. Let's just take that. Pitches. Okay. Now it's going to start looking a lot like this. Here's the input. Input is this. X takes the, oh, we can let that be 1. The title, though, we want to be title. Key of C, there's the pitches. Okay. We'll do this stuff to get the tune. All right, now we have a tune. Let's say we'll make one, and then we'll say report for tune. Okay, and so I should be able to inline this. Okay, and result should be expected. Okay, now this should fail. Oops, not quite that dramatically. ParsonsCodeReport has no member report. Oh yeah, we didn't write it yet. Okay. Now, function report, give me a tune. I'll return you a big old string, which is probably okay. Okay, now we should get a good failing test. Cannot convert value of type tune to expected argument type tune. Really, that's okay. That returns this array of tune. Then let's put it in our report. Get that failing test here. Okay, good. One line graph. Okay. Parsons code. Let's see, down here is going to be the complaint. This is not equal to all that. Okay, so I think we can say well, let's make a report. One tune. Okay. And we'll move the report return down here. And this will just say return report of first tunes.first bang. Same failure. Okay. All right. So a one line thing. Well, we're going to call graph of tune. Graph of tune. And then we're going to return the graph.asString. I wanted 4 spaces. The tune.reference number. Dot. And the tune.title sub-0 dot first. Okay. Believe a tune must have a title. Yeah, that's a requirement of the format. Okay. All right. So what will this do? It should pass. Okay. Good. Good first step anyway. All right. Now, the shortcut I've taken, well, the real problem is this graph as string could be a multi-line return value. And we want this part to the right to line up with it. I wonder if we want the grid back. I kind of think we do. Yeah, so I think what I'd like to do is I would like to get the grid back and then append this stuff to it in a good way. All right, but I think I need the grid to do that. So let's make result.graph return the grid. Okay, now who calls this? Report and our debugger thing. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so now I'm going to say if I return grid here, all right, a bunch of tests should complain that the type doesn't match. Okay. Parsons code tests. Okay, report.graph. Let's call this grid and grid.asString. Oops. String versus Parsons graph. What's expected? Expected is a graph too. Okay, expected. Oh, I guess grid and expected can be the same. That's not a problem. Do I want expected is... Okay, let's do it this way. Okay. Change return type of graph to be grid. Okay. Okay, now my report. I'm getting back. This is really the grid. It's really the code grid. Okay. Now I'd like to make another grid. Maybe I need, well, what I wanted to do was have it write out this piece to the grid. And I think we got some work to do on grid to make that feasible. And I don't know, this is jumping down a level maybe, but like I think it's what I want it to be. All right, so one thing, I think what I need is I'd like to have a put that takes a string and XY is the starting position of the text. Okay. That seems like a reasonable thing to add here. Put string at position. Okay, so we'll create grid. 1, 2, some text, and then we want to check that that equals grid.asString. One, column 2, 2 blank lines. Okay, so it's X is 1. I always have to watch myself because X's and Y's and columns and rows don't line up. You know, they're opposites. Or row column. Okay, so it's column X is 1 to the right, 2. So here's our 0 line. All right, and we expect some text there. Okay, can't convert to character. Good. Now, I'm afraid this may make some ambiguity. Okay, let's build, because somebody may have places where we don't know. Yeah. Oh, how weird. Grid.put. You would think that would match up. I'm going to do a clean. Oh, it's okay. All right, it figured it out. All right. Grid test should fail. Okay. And we didn't do anything, so yeah. Okay. So I think what we need to do I hate to repeat all that work, right? For column in X dot less than X plus string dot count. Okay, or maybe, no, I'm going to make it for index in indexing a string is kind of a pain, as I recall. Can I say string sub index? All right, let's do a put X plus index at Y and string at index. Subscript is unavailable. Cannot subscript with an int. Use a string dot index. Okay, all right, I'm sorry, I just have to look this stuff up every time. I think you can put it in an array for character for each. Okay, this one will do. Next turn, string to enumerated. All right. Well, I tend to do the more. Index character in. Okay, so now we can write strings to grids. That's a good thing. All right, make sure that's all. Okay. Now, again, looking at our report. So can I do something with that? Well, yeah, I can. Yeah, I think we can do something with that. Title grid equal well, do I care at this point? The real thing is I want to append these things horizontally. Okay. I would like to say grid grid dot append grid beside grid next to followed by. That doesn't help me tell if it's vertical or horizontal though. I'd like to say something like code grid, maybe even operators. What if I did something like this? Code grid empty 4 spaces 4. Something like that. And that would say or it could be dot plus, you know, something like that. Let's try it like that. What says horizontal to us? Because plus is ambiguous. Because I want to be able to. I want to be able to do something horizontally or vertically. Beside. What do you say? You say top is left, center, right, top, middle, bottom. I don't know the right word here. Then that's not going to help. Beside. I don't know, maybe plus says it enough. Okay, I mean, that's my sort of concept of where we're going. All right. So I think what I'll need to do is, well, I can put the title grid. Let's make a title grid for Tune. Okay, and let sorry, func title for tune returns a grid. Okay, I'll make this work for now. So I would like this. Let we'll make a grid. We'll grid.put 0, 0, and then this. Put that all in a big string. Okay. And return result. This will probably grow. Okay, but code grid is string. Well, now this can become title grid.asString. Oops. Grid. Okay, I think that gives us a direction. So in here, I'm simulating the spaces. I'm relying on the fact that they both have one line and therefore they're zero axis aligned already. And I'm not doing this, but I would think I would like to have a grid that did that, and a grid that yeah, maybe I can. I'll work on the idea for this. All right, but this passes. Did I check it? I did. Okay. So yeah, I think I want to make something where this work is getting done by the grid. So I want to tell a grid like, hey, I want to say beside or followed by spaces for and then the grid. And that produces a result that we can turn into a string. Okay. We're due for a break. So let's take about a 3-minute break. We'll come back and we will give grids something like this. Not exactly, but something like it. All right, see you in about 3 minutes. Hey, welcome back. All right, let's give grid that. I think we can. Well, don't know. I can almost extract it. Yeah, let's try that. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So I think it's space dot. No, it's string repeating space 4 times. Okay, now I think we can, let's extract a variable here. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. All right. Let's space is equal 4. Spaces. Okay, now this. Okay, I'm just isolating it a little bit. Return result. Okay. Now this computation, I can move over to grid. So let's extract a method. Oh, come on. I'm going to call it beside grid 1 of grid. And then I want to have spaces. I think I'm going to make you say spaces. Spaces int and grid 2 of grid returns. I think it returns a grid. Okay. And we want to say this. Do I want to get a string first or a grid? I think let's make it return a string for a moment. Trying to find a little way to move this first. Okay, so this is grid 1. This is spaces. This is grid 2. Okay. So now my result is beside grid 1, spaces for grid 2. Sorry, code grid and title grid. Okay, that should be the same. Okay, let's push this over to grid. Okay. Where was I? Report. Okay, and now I'm going to say, whoops, grid 1 dot beside grid 1 spaces and grid 2. And the return is implicit here. Okay, let's do that. Okay, now this. Grid 1. Okay, let's take off the grid 1. The other grid. Okay, again, that should be no change. Oh, right, nobody should have grid 1 is redundant now. Make sure that works. Grid 1. I think, is it then grid 2? Let's find out. I don't know what the thesaurus. I don't know. Obviously, I'm not in the right zone yet. Yeah, beside. Ooh, aside. That's interesting. Join is interesting. Neighboring. Maybe beside is going to work. Okay. Yeah. So I think the problem is I don't really think I want a string here. All right, let's inline this. So this is code grid dot beside spaces for and title grid. All right. It's not really happening right though, so that's why I'm kind of, I don't know, not perfectly happy here. The return type should not really be string. I mean, really, it should be a grid, and you do the string on it. But I don't know if I can. Yeah, why not make that? Let's do that. Return a grid. Well, maybe I return a nothing. The grid accumulates it. So I'm going to take self, and I'm going to say put, let's just say X is and we've got body is the list of strings. Let's just take body sub 0. His count is at 0 is where we want to put the repeating spaces. And then let's put this. Okay. So I'm just going to attach the string version of this to that. And then here, okay, let's see if this works. Okay, why are you complaining? Okay. Make beside operate on the left grid. Okay. still want to rename this. I'm going to say followed by. I'm telling. Let's see the. Maybe it's tech is probably the right way to say it. I mean, yeah, man, back to horizontal. My rename didn't take. It did. Okay. Okay. Let's get grid tests going. Are you still on about that? Okay. So we did strings of positions. Let's test this horizontal thing. So if we take horizontal boxes of same size. Let's start there. Grid equals grid. Let's put let's make this grid 1. Grid 1 dot put. Let's put column 2 row 0 row row 1 text 1. Okay, so row 1 is 1, 2, text 1, 1 space, text 2. Okay. And row 0 is empty. Okay. So row 1, row 0. Those should be the same. This is going to break. All right. Yeah, so text 2. Well, I probably should have called my break a little better. Grid 1 dot put 01 text 2. Oh, overwrites text 1. No, is that right? I guess what I was expecting was text 1. I was expecting text 2 to be on the line with this one, but I didn't expect text 1 to disappear. 01 text 1 should have made text 2 space text 2 and then an empty line. Let's break and make sure things are coming together the way I think. Okay, so let's print grid 1. Should be empty text 1 new line. Okay, yeah. Empty space is text 1, 2 empty spaces. So it should look like that and that. Okay, then, oh shoot. Let's put it in grid 2, then grid 1. Okay, try that again. Okay, yeah. So this is more what I expected. It put text 1, text 2. I'm not sure. That looks like more than 2 spaces to me, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Text 1, 2 spaces. Grid 2 is grid 2 asString, which is text 2 new line. Okay, I think that's enough we can work. All right, so I need, well, really what I want to do is for every line in grid 2, this is more complicated than I thought. All right. I mean, what I have here does this for one line, but that's not really enough. And it doesn't take into account that the line, it should be treated as a rectangle. So it doesn't fill out based on the lengths of the other things or any of that stuff. It shouldn't be such an issue in this one, but what I want to do is something like other dot body dot for each, and this is a string in there. So I want to put, well, I think we're going to use our friend enumerated again. Well, let's do it this way. Other dot body dot enumerated dot for each, and this is row string. Okay, so I want to take, well, what I'm saying I want to do is body sub row equals body sub row plus this stuff plus this stuff. Plus other sub body, other dot body sub row. Okay, is that what I'm saying? All right, so I'm saying take each row, append to it the spaces and the corresponding other row. And if everybody lines up okay, that should be legitimate. Okay, what's the matter? I got text 1, 1, 2, space 1. Let's make this 3 so I can see it's real. Try again. Okay, text 1, 2 spaces. 1, 2, 3 spaces. Text 2, new line. And then I have a space. Oh yeah, it appended the spaces on the other line. As well. So I think that's what we're seeing. And the reason is I don't have my test isn't what it said it was going to be. All right, let's simplify this and make it, oops, make it the test I promised. Boxes of, let's do this as differing. Okay, boxes of same size. Let's do this in row 0. So there's only one row to worry about. Okay, and now this should go away. Okay, so it should be 2 spaces, text 1, 3 spaces, text 2, and that should be the line. Okay, so this one should pass. Huh, what do I know? Oh, yeah, okay, the other one failed. And it failed because I didn't do that. But I don't want that to be the way it is anyway. So we'll take this for what it is. Plus horizontal can deal with 1 row boxes. Okay. This test horizontal boxes of varying size. Okay. So what this really should be is 1 2 text 1 space 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 1 2 3 4 5. Okay. So it should have a space. It should correspond to the width of the widest. Oh, and it's that's really not nice of you. I'm sure it's being very helpful, but okay. Okay, don't go away. Oh man. I mean, spaces are significant. Let's do it this way. 1 2 3 4 4. Okay. Dot replacing I guess I could probably read it in my dots. Okay. So I'm saying it should fill up. Every row should be treated as the same as the width of the maximum row and filled in accordingly if it's not big enough. Okay. This should fail. Okay. Right. It trimmed out. It kept the 3 spaces, but it didn't try and fill in the width of the corresponding text. Okay. I don't know if this is getting too hard for this thing, but let's let with 1 equal body dot max by $0 dot count with 2 is the same for the other. Max of 0 dot count. Okay. And this is running over all the lines in body and getting. Oh. Maximum element of the sequence using the given string. Well, I guess we can map each line to its count dot max. Okay. So we got the 2 maximum widths. we're going to take the full row is body sub row dot, and we did this the other day, and I forget the name of the thing that does it. Well, it's in this file, right? Padding. Okay. To length, width 1. With space. And what else do we have in there? Starting at 0. I never did quite understand that starting at thing. Well, while that's thinking, I'll put that here. I need all my terms in there. Was this an optional? We know there's always at least one line, so we can put that. Okay. Full, let's call it full left. And we'll append full left. And I think we'll okay. And we'll pad full right. No, I'm going to have to look up that. Padding. It just doesn't tell you what that means. Okay. With pad, okay. Oh, weird. String dot, oh, left padding. Oh. We made that up. Test string to length 20, pad space starting at 0. Okay, I mean, line plus equals string dot padding. Yeah, don't think so. Okay. Yeah, I think we're doing it the right way. I just don't know why that value is a 0. Let's just check this thing. Pad new link self-script. No, they're doing it themselves. Okay. Carry on, I guess. All right. So build and run. There we go. Okay, I think we're making progress. Okay, so horizontal boxes of varying size. Right, now the issue is let's see. All right, so we start with a grid. It's all padded out. That's great. But the alignment is not going to be right. Okay, so let's get a report. Where's the test? Is anybody calling this? Oh, this one is. Okay. Yeah, so this one, if I call check report, twinkle, this, I want to get, well, what I really want, okay, whoops, that's, one, two, three characters, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I want one twinkle. Okay. What I think I'm going to get is, I think it's going to attach it on line 1. Okay. Yep, there it is on line 1. Okay, instead of on this line. The problem is the two boxes have a different center point. Not even center, it's really the 0, you know, the x-axis. Okay. The x-axis is on the line with the star, and it's on the line with the one twinkle. We would like the boxes to align such that this works. I mean, that they align on the x-axis. You could also make an argument for centering vertical. You could also make an argument for the way this is, but I'm going to stick with what I'd set out to do, which was to make the star line be the focal point. Okay. So that it's not the varying size. I think varying width. How about grids of varying widths? Okay. And then okay. I think that one works because they're both on line 1. All right, we need to make one where they have varying varying axes. well, varying heights, let's say. Okay, so if we put this one in column 2 of row 2, and this one in row 1, let's put this in row 0. Okay, then what I expect changes. This should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Row 0. That's 2. Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Okay. That's row 2, row 1, row 0, 1, 2, 3, should be TEXE2. Okay. So they should align to the axes. Let's say grid heights should align on x-axis. Okay. And I think this test will fail. Twinkle's interesting enough, but this is the one we're working on. Okay. Grids varying height. Text 1, text 2, it aligned on the first line. Okay. So now what we have to do, oh, I'm making destructive copies and I'm going to regret it. Okay. I think I have to well, I'm kind of surprised they didn't blow up already, actually. See, we had this. That's kind of what we need to do. Okay. I'm not thinking my representation is helping any. Excuse me. Right. So if grid 1 is short, I've got to make sure I can align the axes. And if grid 1 is shorter than grid 2, that's one problem. If grid 2 is shorter than grid 1, that's kind of the one our test is covering. So the width other body map. Yeah, the maximum width. All right, that seems like a okay, we can get that as a separate method at some point. That's okay. But I think what happens is we got the for each. The right so really we have this axis. All right, I don't know if I can draw it in a way that makes sense, but okay, so if you have the grid on the left looks like this. 0 is row 2 is y equal to 1 is y equal 1, and 2 is y equals 0. And on the other one, we just have 0 is y equals 0. And so I think we need to say what's the number of vertical rows, and we need to grow them if we need to grow the shorter one by that many rows. Okay, the answer is this axis value tells you how many they are. So let's x with height. Let's do public var positive rows of int is really just axis. I can put that first if it matters, but okay. The positive rows is really the axis because it increases every time we add a row. Okay, here we've added 2 rows, so the axis is now 2, and that's it's the location of the x-axis in the rows of this thing. Okay, but anyway, we know this is greater than this. This one has no positive lines. They're all at line 0 or negative. This one has 2. And so the first 2 rows have to make up values. So this is row 0. I think we want to say it's really, oh boy. I don't know. I feel like there's a simple transformation I'm just kind of not catching. Okay. What if can I copy these things? Okay, let's try it. Let's let grid2 equal other. That's not going to do it. All right, let's do an init. And nothing happens. Okay, so that one's fine. But I also want an init of grid of type grid, which is a copy constructor, if I can think of it that way. And I'm going to say body equals, this can be other. I may have to say private set here. No, you can't do height. Axis equal other dot axis. Say get only property. Okay. Private set. Okay. I think that's going to be... There's a way to do get and set. Probably got a private setter. Yes, that's what I want. Oh, is that all I needed? Wait a minute. Width is always 0? That can't be right. Huh. Nobody's looking at that. Okay. Okay. At least I can make a new copy. So let's make a grid with other. Okay. And now if this is less than this, then we need to fill those in. Okay, so let's make it with positives. Okay, so we had to do add lines if needed. Okay, so we're saying we want to get to that. Okay, so grid 2.add lines if needed to get to grid, self.axis. Okay, so we want to make sure we can get to the same axis as this one. All right, let's see if that, we'll work on grid 2.body.row. I don't know. Doesn't feel like a natural thing to me, but add needed self.axis. Okay. And then add lines if needed. Okay. It does them either above or below. Y is greater than 0 or y is less than 0. Okay. I think our case doesn't need it at this point. It doesn't care. But now we should have the same number of positive lines here. So let's just let check equal grid 1 dot positive. What did I call it? Positive rows. Grid 1 is self. Okay, so by the time we finish, the number of positive rows should be the same. And I think, do we have an assert? It's a precondition, I think we can say. Precondition. Okay, if that's not true at this point, we want to know about it. All right. Now let's get back to the grid test. Okay, so what we just did should put the two rows in here. Okay, so much for that. Text 1 blank 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 is not equal to text 1 text 2. Okay, what have I done? Add lines if needed, but it did not blow up here. So am I copying the wrong rows? Width 2. Okay, this should get to the same row. All right, let's stop here and see what we got. Okay, so grid tests. Text 1 with no X, text 2's. Okay, run this. Okay, so let's print self. Or maybe self.asString. Okay, print grid2.asString. Blank blank. Okay, so self dot okay. Okay, body row padding. Okay, so this should just wait, what? Did I step out? Let's rows out of scope. Other oh. Yeah, I need grid 2. Okay, I'll stop that. Try it again. Okay, so if I step over, what happened? Empty strings and text. Well, no, this is not even that. This should be just self.body, which is also known as body. Okay, so the body is the list of strings. Okay. For each row. All right. Okay, so let's print self.asString. Print other, no, grid 2. Okay, so the first one has 5 lines. No, 3 lines. Second one has 3 lines. Okay. I'm gonna continue. Okay, yeah. All right, so we'll go over. All right, now let's see full left. empty but padded. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. That does not seem right. What did our test pad with? 3 spaces. He's empty. Full right dot count should have been padded to with 2. Oh, 5. Okay, that seems right. Oh, yeah. No, this is right. I'm not counting that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Yeah, corresponding to text 2, and here are the spaces. Okay, so let's continue. And continue. Okay. And let's try this one. Now, I think this one's still going to fail because we haven't accounted for the end of line either. And spaces, I think. Isn't that unfortunate? All right, let's see how this goes. Okay, index out of range, row is 3. We don't have 3 rows in our thing. Okay, we got 0, 1, 2, but we don't have a row 3. Okay, I'm going to have to do something on the comparison, though. We'll have to... we may have to add some spaces or something. We may have to add dots like we did down here. Okay. Right grid shorter should align on x-axis. Okay. Now we want to do the corresponding how about right grid with fewer positive rows generates them. Fewer negative rows okay, so this one, I guess we can just swap grid 1, grid 2. Is that true? No, we should add another row down here. Okay, so now this one looks like, oh, I deleted that stuff. Okay, this has got row 2, row 1, row 0, row -1. This one only has 0, 0, row 0. We generate row 2, row 1. We don't generate row -1 over here. Okay, so let's run this. And this one should crash like our Twinkle did. Okay, yeah. So we're getting trying for row 3 that doesn't exist. Okay, so let's do another add line if needed. Okay. So the situation here is we want to get the most negative line on the left-hand side. Okay, and that is, well, let's see. I guess you do take count, which is 4. 2, 1, 0, minus 1. So the count is 4. Minus the axis is 2. I guess minus 1. How do I do this? If I take the axis, minus the count plus 1, okay. Axis minus count, which is height. The axis minus height plus 1. Okay. I think we need to negate that. So it's height minus axis minus 1. Okay, so in our situation, we have row 2, 1, 0, minus 1. Axis is 2. Height is 4. So 4 minus 2 is, sorry, height is 4. Minus the axis 2 minus 1 is 1 negative rows. We got to get the coordinate right, though. I think my other order may have been better. If I take the axis minus the height, I may have to do plus 1. Let's see how that goes. 2 minus 4 plus 1 is minus 2 plus 1 is minus 1. Okay. I think that's the right place. Where'd the example go? Did I delete it? There it is. Okay, let's give this thing another row. Minus 1 goes to y. Oh, sorry. 3 goes to y equals minus 1. Okay, so we're going to take the axis 2 minus the height 4. Really, we're trying to get the last index is minus 2 plus 1 because we're 0 based is minus 1. So we need to get to a minus 1 over here. And that is what I believe will make it pass. Let's do grid tests. It should all pass now. We're not done, but okay. What's the failure? Text 1 blank, text 2. Oh, my assertion is completely messed up. All right, we put a minus here at column 0. minus 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Twinkle still fails. Oh, grid. Okay. Text 1, blank line. Whoa. No? Okay, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The minus 1 is here. Okay. And then fill it 6. We need one more to get there. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, which those will have to be dots, won't they? 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's what I believe. Grid test passed. Okay. Now there's another combination, and right, everything could happen to the other side. Okay, so I think we can, if we make a taller right-hand box and a left-hand box that's just one line over here, it needs to expand top and bottom. So let's see if we can do this in one test case. Fewer positive or negative rows on left generates them. Okay, so on the left, we're just going to do a row 0, text 1. Okay, on this one, we're going to put this in column, row 2. And we're going to put something down there in row -1. Separated by 3 spaces. Okay, so I want this one, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so that, this one has this on text 1. Okay, text 2 is up here. This is spaces. -1 doesn't happen. Text 3. Okay. So 2 is text 2. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I got too many now. Text 71. Okay. Yeah, let's make it A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, A, B, C, D, E, F, 3. I still got one too many, don't I? Let's make it G. Okay. 0, 0, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. This is row 0, the axis. Okay, up in row 2, text 2 after 3 spaces. In -1, text 3. Okay. And this is going to crash, I believe. Precondition failed. Okay. Yes. So we need to do the same thing for self. We got to accommodate his positive rows, and we got to accommodate his negative rows. I guess it's just other.axis minus other.height plus 1. Okay. So I think we've said it both ways. If the if the left-hand side has fewer positive rows than the right-hand side, then make sure we can access the positive side. If it has more negative rows, in other words, if its height is bigger, then we make sure we can accommodate the last row it accesses. Okay. Now, I don't know what's going on the build front here. Okay, let's run grid tests. All right. Now, twinkle graph. Let's see that one. One failure. And this may just be a spaces thing. This twinkle. Yeah, I think this is a spaces issue. That's spaced out there. I don't know. I think there's no spaces on these. So I'm going to put it on my comparison routine. I think we're testing in grid that it puts in the spaces it needs to, but in the answer stuff we're doing, we don't really care about them. They're invisible as a report, so I'm going to trim them. Okay, so check report. I'm going to take result. Let's let trimmed equal result dot map. Excuse me. Oh dear. This result is a string. Okay, so I don't know. I hate to do all this. Okay, result dot split separator new line omitting empty sequences false. Okay, we want to get all of them, even the empty lines. Okay. Then we're going to map each line to trim characters in dot white spaces. Okay. So we'll get rid of everything on the. Oh dear. I only want the left trimmed. Both ends. Ugh. You would think. Yeah, I really don't want to do that. Okay. Yeah. I can't believe it's not built in, honestly. Yeah, that really stinks. This may be the thing we got to do. Okay, so this becomes replace any spaces at the end of the line with nothing. It's not a good sign. Okay. Map this. Okay, result. We haven't done anything with it. Let trimmed result equal result. Split out the new lines. Take each of those strings, get rid of its trailing white space, and then join with a new line. Okay, so nothing on there. So this should look at trimmed result. Trimmed result. This is nothing. Okay. Hermit level separator. Okay. Ugh. I'm happier to have it in the check method than out running wild, but I'm not happy about it. All right, let's see if this helps that problem. Because I think it's actually right. Yeah. Okay. Woohoo. Let's see. So we support appending grids horizontally, adjusting when adjusting both grids to the same height and axis, and check report ignoring trailing spaces. Okay, well that's oh shoot, didn't run everything. Oops. All right, good. Well, that gives us something. It gives us the report for one tune, basically. You call report, you pass an array of tunes. If it's got one tune, it returns it. So, well, I guess I'm going to say we made the grid able to append other grids to its right. Okay, and we, whoops, single report works, not showing the Parsons code. Okay, so we need to add Parsons code. Also, I want to yeah, I really want to clean up in grid. It just looks too hard to me. It shouldn't be this hard. There may be, yeah, it's just too hard. I'm not sure what's going on, but we'll fix it. All right. So we'll pick up tomorrow, Wednesday, at 1 to 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, or 6 to 8:30 p.m. UTC. And I think we're closing in on our multiple reports. I guess I have to decide if it's worth making a grid that vertically appends as well. And if so, we'll use it in our reports. And I think with the report done, we'll be able to run at least a simplified song through a set of songs and see what they get. All right. Thanks for joining. Take care. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.